Good evening and welcome. Thank you for coming this evening. We met in executive session already, and we've done the flag salute, so I will read the statement of public notice. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Education of Bernards Township. Notice of the time and place of this meeting was provided, and copies of that resolution were forwarded to the official newspapers as designated by the Board of Education and the Township Clerk, and a copy of the notice was posted on the bulletin board at the Board of Education offices. For those members of the public who cannot attend our meeting in person, there is a live stream link to the meeting. We very much welcome input from the public. There are 2 times during regular meetings that the public is invited to speak. One time is early in the meeting before the board votes, when you may speak about any item that is listed on tonight's agenda. Towards the end of the meeting, there is another public forum to address any matter of public concern related to the schools. When you approach the microphone, please state your name and address. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes duration. No participant may speak more than once during a given public comment session. The first public comment session will be limited to 30 minutes and the second will be unlimited. In order to run efficient meetings and to allow maximum opportunity for members of the public to speak, the board reserves the right to set a different time limit for individual comments and the overall time limit for the public comments portion of the agenda. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address or question board members individually. Please understand that public comment portions of our agendas are not structured as question and answer sessions, but are offered as opportunities to share your thoughts with the board. The Board of Administration will respond to public comments to the extent possible. Any board responses to public comments will generally be addressed during board forum or committee reports. However, all comments are considered and will be investigated and addressed as appropriate. Please be courteous and mindful of the rights of others when speaking. Comments may not be abusive, obscene, threatening, or irrelevant. Please understand that students and employees have specific legal and privacy protections. The board is not permitted to respond in public to comments about students and employees. Please also understand that the board will not be responsible for the content of comments made by members of the public. Members of the public are cautioned that they are speaking at their own risk, and any personally directed statements that may subject them to legal liability to the affected individual. If it's necessary for the board to go into executive session at the end of the meeting, we'll provide an estimated length of time for the session and whether any action is anticipated to be taken upon returning to the public session. And with that, we're up to roll call.
Ms. White?
Here.
Dr. McCune?
Here.
Mr. Molinari? Mr. Amin? Ms. Mohan?
Here.
Ms. Corrado?
Here.
Mr. Shaw?
Here.
Mr. Talbot?
Here.
And Mr. Omalanik?
Here.
Thanks. We're up to superintendent's report, and there are 3 items. Is there anything that you want to say about them?
Sure. So these are the district goals, our first item. We have 4 goals. These 4 goals are connected to our long-range strategic plan that we approved over the summer. The first goal is associated with data entry and analysis. We are procuring a new system to use this year called Schoolytics that will help us with that goal. Our second goal is related to student wellness. We've also already started working on that with our AI plan, and we'll be looking at screen time and some policy issues within Goal 2. Goal 3 is related to training the staff with the subject of AI and generative AI as significant areas of focus, and the 4th goal is associated with maximizing our budget. Item 2 are the Ridge High Forensics overnight trips for the fall, and number 3 is the HIB report that we discussed earlier tonight.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay, may I have a motion? Dave and Mike, and a roll call.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Dr. McCune?
Yes.
Ms. Mohan?
Yes.
Ms. Corrado?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Talbot?
Yes.
And Mr. Omalanik?
Yes.
We're now up to public comment on agenda items. If anybody would like to come down and make a comment, please do so. Sign in on the clipboard and state your name and address. Okay. We'll close public comment and move on to approval of minutes. Can I get a motion? Dave Smriti, and a roll call.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Dr. McCune,
Yes.
Ms. Mohan,
Yes.
Ms. Corrado,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Talbot,
Yes.
and Mr. Omalonic.
Yes.
Okay, we're up to finance, and there are 17 items. Dave, would you want to give your report?
Yeah. So I'll start with the report, the July 23rd report. It's a little bit lengthy, so I'll go quickly. One, the committee discussed health benefits and specifically the IBNR, incurred but not reported costs. The district is still awaiting final figures for IBNR. Additionally, IBNR expenses will be paid from the fund balance. Next, the committee discussed the actual versus original budget for 24-25. The health cost center exceeded the budgeted amount by approximately $3 million. Over $800,000 is appropriated to extraordinary aid, was used to offset this overage. Savings of over $1 million on out-of-district busing are helping to close the gap, with additional budget transfers covering the remainder. County approval for these transfers has been received. The district also received more than 300 in prescription drug rebates. Sorry, my screen is moving a little. Next, the committee discussed the state health benefits plan. These are not our rates, just so you know. We don't go by the state plan, but just so everyone's aware of what they are. The state benefit plans increased by about 30%, which are effective January 1st. So our plan is doing much better than that, which is very good. So it's great that we're not on their plan, but just be aware of how much medical is really going up across the state. But this impacts all districts participating in that plan. The next item the committee discussed, that lapsed appropriations are projected to be less than 1% of the operating budget. A clearer picture of the fund balance will be available in August, which we're in August. Maybe we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Preliminary estimates suggested that the fund balance available for operating expenses would be about $2.5 million less than the previous year. The committee also discussed that the district received just under $1 million in IDEA funds, a decrease of $54,000 or 4% from last year, within an expected range. The committee discussed the ESEA allocations. Last year's allocation, excluding Title I for Bonnie Bray, was about $200,000. To date, nothing has been issued for this year. The delay has impacted the district's ability to deploy teachers or begin typical summer tutoring and professional development activities funded through the grant. The next item is confidential, so I'll skip that. Number 5 is related to lead remediation, and maybe Jim can give an update on this as well. The committee discussed the potential lead remediation grant. The district qualifies for up to $6,000 per water fixture under the grant. 8 fixtures exceeded the lead threshold have already been removed and replaced. The grant allows for replacement even if fixtures contain trace lead below the threshold. Potential to replace up to 94 fixtures at $6,000 each. Next, the committee discussed the WAM's fire hydrant water main break. The district is awaiting an invoice related to the water main break caused by improper hydrant closure near the new track. Asphalt damage remains to be repaired. As of now, the district's insurance is not covering pavement damage. There is a question of whether Liberty Corner Fire Department's insurance might be liable. Insurance carriers will need to determine the responsibility. Next, the committee discussed extraordinary aid allocation. Last year, the district received $4.72 million in extraordinary aid. This year's allocation is $4.75. However, based on state formulas, the district should have received $9.2 million, approximately 52% funding, compared to 61% of need funded last year. This shortfall may impact settlement negotiations related to out-of-district placements. That one is a fairly big deal. And the last one has to do with an energy audit. The district the committee discussed that a local government energy audit has been completed. Results are still under review and will be discussed further in Facilities and Operations Committee. And that's it for the report. Before I move on to the items, Jim, you want to talk about any of this?
Does anybody have any questions for Dave?
I'll just give a little bit of an update on a couple of the ones since that we talked about in August, but August is not out. So we did get insurance to pay for the fire hydrant, which was nice. They listened to our complaint, and they did issue the check, so we are in receipt of that check. And we did submit the grant for lead remediation for that, so we're awaiting to see when the state will make that determination. And we did receive the ESEA allocations finally, and there's a motion on the finance agenda to apply, and so we can begin spending those funds as well. And the fund balance is closer to about $2 million less than the prior year, although we are still pre-audit on that. And I think that's about it in terms of the updates.
Okay, thanks. And then just on voting items, most of them are pretty normal. Just the ones I want to mention is number 5. We got a donation from the PEC of about $10,000. We're going to be adding an ADA walkway to the greenhouse, so that's very exciting. Number 7, I'm going to skip for now. I'm going to let Nick talk about that. And then number 10, Mount Prospect has been putting on a new roof. There's been some issues with the company putting it in, so we have a change order of reduction of $30,000 for errors for that. And then I'll let Nick discuss number 7.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shaw. So we're very excited within the Finance Committee report tonight that we are able to propose a resolution, item number 7 on the agenda under Finance Committee. And I just want to draw it to everyone's attention and read it tonight. I know we have lots of representatives from the newly forming Berners Township Education Foundation, so thank you guys all for being here tonight. Really appreciate it. So we corresponded a little bit about the resolution. I wanted to just read it for everyone's benefit. So it reads as follows. Whereas the Board of Education acknowledges the valuable role that an educational foundation can play in supporting the school district's mission and educational goals, and whereas the Berners Township Education Foundation will work in collaboration with the district to identify ways to supplement district programs and initiatives that benefit students, and whereas the Berners Township Education Foundation shall remain a separate legal entity and the district shall not be liable for the obligations of the foundation, and whereas the Berners Township Education Foundation will be established as a not-for-profit organization committed to enhancing educational opportunities for students within Berners Township. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education formally recognizes the Berners Township Education Foundation as an independent, not-for-profit entity dedicated to enriching the education experience of the students in the Berners Township School District.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, can I get a motion? Robin and Dave, and a roll call.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Dr. McCune,
Yes.
Ms. Mohan,
Yes.
Ms. Corrado,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Talbot,
Yes.
and Mr. Omalanik.
Yes.
Okay, that brings us to the Personnel Committee report. I know there are 35 items. Robin, is there anything you want to share from your report?
Do you want to do the motion first, and then I'll do it, or?
Sure.
Okay.
Can I get a motion? Brett and Janice.
Okay, I only have a very short report that I can give from our very brief meeting that we had a couple weeks ago that I can report out on publicly. We talked about elementary class sectioning. We did a review of all the different elementary sections, as we do multiple times each summer, to see about move-ins and what's going on. There was not enough additional growth to add any sections, and so all of the classes are within the approved class size guidelines. So I just wanted to turn it over to Nick, because I know there was a lot of discussion about
Sure.
our enrollment at Cedar Hill and
Yep.
the busing situation and everything.
Yeah, so we had made that amendment last month to have some flexibility with a flexible attendance zone, but we did not need to exercise that. So all of the students currently residing in the Cedar Hill section of town are all being enrolled in Cedar Hill for the fall. I think it's a good start to take a look at that policy with regard to student placement, and something that we're going to have to monitor and might need to use in the future. As everybody knows, there's plans to do quite a bit of building on the southwest part of town, which could necessitate a need for some more flexibility in the placement of students. So we need to take a look at that as we get the numbers from the town when those plans are finalized with respect to bedrooms and counts of units and all that. So it's a good start. I appreciate the board's support, and we'll have to monitor going forward. But for this coming September, we didn't need to use the flexible attendance zones.
And I think I remember the demographer had thought we should wait until we have that information before we do another update to his report, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
he recommended waiting until we had more details about the construction plans. Specifically, are they going to be the kinds of units that attract families? Obviously, that makes a difference in his calculations regarding how many students might eventually enroll in the school. So he did suggest waiting until we had that information, but that could be sometime this year.
Okay. Can we get a roll call?
Ms. White?
Yes.
Dr. McCune?
Yes.
Ms. Mohan?
Yes.
Ms. Corrado?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Talbot?
Yes.
And Mr. O'Malonic?
Yes.
We're up to policy. There are 3 items, and there is a report. Mike, do you want to do the report?
Yeah, we met on August 14th. It's a pretty short report, a couple things. We discussed P2468 about the independent educational evaluation. And basically, what happens is if evaluators are coming in to watch what's happening in the classroom, they have to sign a confidentiality agreement showing that any information that they see is going to observed is only going to pertain solely to the designated student observation. The evaluator sessions are not going to exceed 1 hour unless prior authorization is granted. We talked about R7510, the use of school facilities. There was some language that was added if someone is using the facility rental agreements. The renters may be responsible for funding the EMT, police, or other emergency service if there's more than 500 or more attendees. And the new wording states, furthermore, applicants may be required to pay for the security and/or emergency responder services depending on the size and nature of the event. And for the general policy and regulation updates, we talked about each job posting is entered into AppleTrack and distributed internally. For P2422, the statutory curricular requirements was slightly revised. The policies revised to include mandated instruction on the history and contributions of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders to be shown within the curriculum. The policy title is also amended to show the broader scope encompassing all statutory curricular requirements rather than solely those related to health and physical education. And we're going to be meeting just in early September for our next policy meeting. That's pretty much it.
Okay, and then there are the 3 items. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, can I get a motion? Dave, Janice, and a roll call.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Dr. McCune?
Yes.
Ms. Mohan?
Yes.
Ms. Corrado?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Talbot?
Yes.
And Mr. O'Malonic?
Yes.
We're up to curriculum. There's no report and no items. When is the next? September 12th? Okay. And wellness, same thing? No, there's no report?
Yeah,
but-
we'll be meeting at the end of September next.
And Jim, is there anything for facilities? I don't think so. There was no report, but till September?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any liaison reports? All right. That brings us to public comment on non-agenda items. Anybody have any comments on non-agenda items? Come on down, state your name and your address, and sign in the clipboard. All right. I will close public comment, and that brings us to board forum. Does anybody have anything that they would like to discuss? Is it?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brett.
Just real quick, just want to say that I'm excited to see what the newly formed foundation is going to accomplish, and wishing you all good luck.
Anyone else? Okay. With that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Smriti and Dave, this may have been the fastest meeting I have ever experienced in my life, in 9 years. Yeah. Thank you all for coming out tonight.